everyone, it's Lucy from KBeautyHobbit.com. Welcome to my channel where I do a lot of nail tutorials. Mostly I use different strips, the kinds that need lights and the kinds that don't. I have one massive playlist called Nails with all the videos in it, and then I have smaller ones by category, press-ons, stickers, etc, etc. So if that interests you, definitely check it out and stick around because I try to put out 2 new tutorials every month. Today we're going to be revisiting Polish Pops. I already have a video about them, however, they have improved their formula since then, and also the set I had before had a separation issue. That means that after I cured it, the top layer started to separate from the rest of the layers. And it was not unique to Polish Pops, although I personally only experienced it with Polish Pops, but across the board, Lid Gels, Ahora, Dash and Diva, Polish Pops, Hey, a lot of those nails had that same issue. And from working in manufacturing, my best guess is that somewhere up the supply chain, some manufacturer of one of the components messed something up and it just trickled down to all the different brands. Anyway, Polish Pops tells me that it has been fixed and they addressed the whole issue very well in the first place. I bought those first sets with my own money. Polish Pops ended up refunding me and sending me replacements, and now they offered to send me their new formula, which is this. Absolutely free, which is very generous. This is not a sponsored video and it will be honest as always, but these products here were gifted. In addition to sending me the colors of my choice, which are very nice, Polish Pop sent me this little bag. Inside it has their cuticle oil. They sent the glossy no wipe top gel, these little scissors, and a little rubber tipped cuticle pusher, and some nail files. The 2 colors I chose are Roses Are Red and Midnight Sky. I am in the red mood, so that's what we're going to use today. The brand provides some application instructions on the back. However, I do a couple additional steps and I usually can get 2 weeks out of my manicures. I tend to switch them out about 10 days after simply because my nails grow out and I don't like that visible growth. But if you don't have that issue, 2 weeks should be what you could get out of these. Prep is always the most important step. You will not have good application experience if you don't prep. I've gotten a new cuticle pusher since the last time I filmed. This one is a little bit sharper on the end, and it does tend to scrape off just a little bit more skin. I would be careful not to keep scraping because I think at some point you are scraping off the nail probably, but I haven't gotten that intense, so I think it's okay. But all I'm doing is pushing back the cuticle. If you prefer to use a cuticle remover, Sally Hansen does a good one. You just apply it, leave it on, I think for 30 seconds or a minute, I can't remember, but it has instructions, and then push it back and wash it off. And you don't want to keep it on longer than what it recommends because it is basically like a little solvent. It doesn't hurt or anything, but you don't want to keep it on your nails longer than you need to. So I usually do 1 hand at a time when I use it, but honestly it requires water, which I don't have access to here where I'm filming. So I just do the cuticle pushing instead. If you are somebody who trims your cuticles, cuts them, whatever, if you're trained to do that, go for it. If you're not trained to do that, I personally wouldn't do that because you are risking introducing an infection and so on. If you are using a cuticle remover, which I'll link everything in the description box, this side can be very helpful. Instead of pushing back the cuticle with a remover on, you could sort of like run it across here and kind of scrape the dead tissue away. This is not very sharp. It is a little sharp, but it's not super sharp. It shouldn't cause any damage. Still be careful, of course. I use this on my 10-year-old. The little kids tend to have oilier nail beds and their cuticles get pretty wild. So this was kind of nice to clean up her nail beds before we painted her nails. Inside the box, we get more detailed application instructions and removal instructions. I do have removal videos showing you different ways to remove nail strips without damaging your nails, so definitely check those out. There's some tips and tricks. I'll show you all the tips and tricks. Here's the pack. I'm just going to use a shortcut of using my little tool. Try to use that shortcut. Yep, there we go. Okay. You definitely want to store these away from direct sunlight and away from your UV lamp while you're using it because you don't want to start curing these. This little guy here is a resealing sticker. So when you put away your leftovers back into the sleeve, you can reseal it to keep them fresh. And then we have a little wooden stick and a nail file. This is a much better nail file than I typically see nail brands include. This is basically full size versus the tiny ones, and it doesn't feel flimsy. I might actually end up using it. Usually I just use my own because the included files a lot of the times are super tiny. They included 2 prep pads, which again is kind of unusual. Typically brands include just one. Thank you to whoever commented on one of my videos that I should tear these from the middle to expose the wipe versus trying to daintily tear it at the top and then reaching in to get the wipe. Thank you. That definitely changed how I do it. So the purpose of this thing, of this step, is to degrease your nails. If you have very oily nail beds, or if you are doing a manicure on a child, you could wash your hands with Dawn dish soap before you do the manicure, which will definitely degrease everything. However, I have very dry hands, very dry nails, and I have eczema. I honestly almost didn't film this today because I'm having an eczema flare and everything hurts, and that's not related to the nails whatsoever. So I will probably be kind of a week behind schedule. But yeah, ignore all these dry patches, it's my eczema. Now it's time to pick the sizes. You will see that the stickers are slightly trapeze shaped. They're a little bit more narrow on one side, the side that's closest to the middle of the sheet. They're a little bit wider on the other side. Now for me, I would put the more narrow side to the cuticle because that's how my nails are naturally shaped. If your nails are shaped differently than that, you can do it differently. These are domed, so they are thinner around the edges to mimic the look of real gel and look more like real gel than a sticker. But it doesn't really matter which side you put to the cuticle or not. The only time it matters is when you have some kind of design that would clearly look upside down if you did it the other way. You want the size to be pretty close to your actual nail, but definitely not bigger than your actual nail. Because if it is bigger, then it's going to overlap and go over the skin, which we don't want because that will be lifting and you won't have a 2-week manicure. These can be stretched a little bit. A few people have asked me on different videos if you could save the leftovers. So I have short nails and I always end up cutting off a pretty significant portion of the strip. I don't save that. If you want to save it, and you know, let's say that the length of your nail is to here and all of this little part is going to be wasted or it's going to be cut off. Cut that first before you peel them off, because then you can save that spot, that piece right on the backing sheet. You're not touching the adhesive on the back. If you're cutting these very close to your natural length or the length that it's going to be, and you don't want to touch the part that will be on the nail, I would use tweezers to peel them off. Because I'm not going to save these little extras. Call me wasteful if you want, but I have a lot of nail stickers and I will never get through them anyway. But because I'm not saving them, I am using my fingers and I am okay holding that top part, the adhesive, because I'm going to cut that off anyway and toss it. All right, now we're lining this up as close to the cuticle as possible without going over the skin. I like to let it go slightly and just check that I put it on straight. At this point, you can still reposition it because it's not really stuck on the nail. I didn't smoosh it down. You can still twirl it around, whatever. But once you push it down, yes, you could theoretically still take it off. I kind of noticed that the adhesive is not as strong after that, probably because it picks up some of your nail, whatever. So I try to kind of be happy with the positioning before I smush it. Once I'm happy with it, I start smushing it first with my finger, just like this, and just go all around. Now keep in mind that the rest of your nails are degreased right now, so don't go touching your other nails with your fingertip because you'll introduce oil back in. But we're just smushing it down, and then we're going to take one of our cuticle pushers. Now again, they sent me one, but I have an open one here somewhere. I have this purple one. And I just take that and push around the edge. That might seem like a redundant, repetitive step because we already pushed it down with our thumb, right? But honestly, this makes a huge difference in sealing those edges. And that's what you want. You have some risk points when it comes to stickers of where lifting can happen. One major risk point is the cuticle, in which case you get hair snagging. And the other risk point is the tip, which we'll address later. But the cuticle and these edges, these little rubber cuticle pushers are fantastic. They're very inexpensive, so just pick some up on Amazon or somewhere and have some on hand. When I do the first hand, I try to stick to one side of the sheet, and I could be using the other sheet, but still, I try not to flip-flop between sides, because then when I'm done with the first hand, I'll see which nails match the sizes so that I'm using the other sizes on the other hand. It just makes it easier. If you're having a hard time figuring out how the sticker will go on your nail, it's okay to kind of curve it and see, like this one. If I hold it straight on, it looks like it's the right size, but I think it's probably too narrow. So I'm going to see this one, but kind of curving it around. Yes, this one is more my size. I like to cover pretty much most of the nail, but again, if you have to choose between a little bit too narrow and a little bit too wide, pick a little bit too narrow. You will have better results. Pick it up and line it up. Drop it. Okay, that might be too wide. We're gonna look here. So I'm just gently laying it down on this side. This side is okay. Now this side, I am going to just grab the skin on the side of my finger, and I have to be creative, right? Because I only have two hands. And I'm just going to kind of hold the skin back here, show you, so that the sticker does not go on it, because this is pretty much right at my size. See, it's like perfect. It's perfectly the width of my nail. So if I simply just smooshed it down, most likely it would have gone over this meaty part right here. But because I'm pulling this back, I can get a really precise fit here. And this video, I'm giving you a little bit more detailed kind of instructions and such, because in every video, my process for applying nails more or less is the same. I can show you some extra tips, whatever, sometimes, or some brands require something a little bit extra or different. But for people who watch my videos all the time, I want you to still get something new out of every video. Even if it's not the brand that you're going to be applying, hopefully you can learn something useful here that will be applicable to the other brands that you are using. But then for a brand new viewer who's never seen one of my tutorials, I still want this to be a complete tutorial that shows you everything you would need to know, or at least all the most important steps to get a good manicure. Now you could do your whole hand and then trim the nails. I prefer to trim them as I go, because these little duck flaps, they look like little duck mouths, don't they? Like the duck beaks. Anyway, these little flaps, they can start getting in the way and kind of sticking to things. It drives me absolutely nuts when brands post tutorials and they show people curing the nails before they trim them. Do not do that. I repeat, do not do that. Trim these, then cure them. These are not meant to be nail extensions. Now, if you put like builder gel on top, maybe you could harden them enough to where you could make them a little bit longer than your nail, but no, they're not meant to be nail extensions. Even if you do successfully build it up with builder gel or some kind of top coat, whatever, if you do successfully do that, you will have a sticky underside. So then you have to address that somehow. If you want nails that are longer than your natural nail, either do press-ons, and I have tons of tutorials for those, or do something like gel extend, which I haven't used, and then you could put stickers on top of that if you want. So here they're trimmed. I'm going to finish the rest of the hand and kind of show you the next steps, but I trimmed it using manicure scissors. I've owned these since I was 7, so for a very long time. But if you prefer clippers, that is fine. If you wanted to shorten your length at this point, you can cut some of the nail with the sticker. I want to keep this length because I want to fully enjoy this beautiful red color, so I only cut the sticker. And you don't have to be very, very precise in this step. It's okay that some of it is a little bit jagged, or it's okay that the sticker is like a tiny bit longer than the nail, because we will fix all of that in the following steps, but for now this is good enough. Okay, here they are, applied and trimmed. Haven't done anything else. I didn't make any mistakes this time, as in I didn't waste any strips. Sometimes that happens, and I will tell you, if you put a strip on and it's clearly the wrong size or it's wonky, just redo it, because it's not going to look good or it's not going to last well, depending on what the mistake was. Just peel it off and put on a different one. It's worth it, because you want the manicure to last over a week, and trust me, it's going to bother you or it's going to fall off. It's just not a good thing. But this is what I have left. So there's lots. I don't know if I could get a full manicure from this just because of the sizes, but I have been saving my extras because these bigger ones can be used on the toes. You could try and cut them down to fit your little toes. Just keep in mind that because these are domed, if you, let's say, cut it in half and then cut it this way and you want to use like this lower quadrant, maybe you have toenails like mine that are kind of wider but shorter, you will have thinner sides and like a thicker middle because these are domed. But my thought is I could probably use these smaller ones on my daughter. I have used a Hora Pedipack and Dashing Diva Pedipack leftovers on her nails, and they fit really well and they lasted really well. They lasted over a week on her. It was great. So I'm kind of pondering making a video of like an application on her without showing her face. I don't know. Let me know if you want to see that. I do hope that some brands would maybe make kid sizes of these because, you know, it's just they see what we do, they want to do what we do, and it would be cool. Or at least like maybe a non-UV sticker in kid size. The only ones I've seen are press-ons, and I'd rather just do stickers. Okay, so before we proceed, put these away into their case, and that's where this sticker comes in handy. I don't know how easy it is going to be to peel off. All right, I'm going to just seal that opening. Just keep them fresh. The next optional, but honestly life-changing when it comes to manicure steps that I do is use this squish light. This is a UV light, has like a stamper, squishy head. I put a little saran wrap on it because the squishy head does tend to get ripped up. Yes, you can buy replacements, but I don't want to keep buying replacements if I don't have to. So we just turn it on. This is not a replacement for your full-size lamp. And no, you do not need to do this if you have stickers that do not need UV light. This will not do anything good for the stickers that are already cured, that are not meant to be used with UV lamps. You don't need this for that. But for these stickers like Polish Pops or Hey Hey's or Lid Gels or Hora or Dashing Diva Glaze or Nail Log, you can use this to kind of start the curing process while applying pressure. The pressure part is key because what you're doing is you're curing the stickers in the shape of your nails. The curing process does make the stickers harden, which is good, that's what we want. But sometimes through that curing process under a lamp, your stickers become almost like flatter, so they start to lift off the sides a little bit. Now you might not see that, but maybe 2 or 3 days later you get snagging at the cuticle. You can see I'm not doing this for very long. It's literally just a few seconds each nail, but it does make a huge difference. Some brands like Nail Log, they don't really need that. I don't have lifting with those ever at the cuticle, but some brands like Hora really benefit from that. I had a lot of comments say that they can't find the squish light. Yes, this specific one is not being sold anymore, but there's a tons of different ones on Amazon. I'll put a link to something in the description. Honestly, they're pretty much all the same. Just get what you can. As long as it's a UV light with a little squishy top, that's all you need. After the squish light, I went ahead and I cured each hand for 2 minutes. So I did 2 60-second rounds under my lamp. How long you need will depend on your lamp. Read the instructions, but honestly, I usually just do 2 rounds for pretty much all brands and it seems okay. And these are fully hard now. Until now, I could have pushed on this hard with my nail and it would have left a dent. There are no dents now. These are fully cured. You will now want to shape them a little bit. You can see like right here, when I was trimming it, there's a little bit of an imperfection. You can see a little bit of my nail. This is a little bit jagged. There's a little bit of a corner right here and I don't want that. So you can clean all of that up. I am going to use their file because like I said, it looks really good. This is not even the one from the optional kit that they sell, that they sent me so generously. This is just the one that came with the stickers, but honestly, it's really good. It's stiff in a good way. So all I do is just go like this. If you want to shorten your nails a little bit through this, I would file at this angle like that. But all I'm doing is just kind of making sure that I don't have any of these jagged edges, that everything is nice and smooth. I filed off all the imperfections that I could see, and they are a little bit dusty now, you know, with the nail dust, because I was filing. So my trick for that is just to take that same wipe we used before. Mine's still pretty wet, and just wipe that off. It's also not a bad idea to wipe these off before this next step. You don't have to, but the nice thing about this optional little wipe step here is that I've been touching the stickers all over, obviously pushing them down with my fingernails, but I'm going to do one more step here, and I kind of want them to be grease free. I don't want to go rinse them right now because I don't want to introduce water. Actually, the best time to do nails is right before bed so that you could have a nice, hopefully long stretch of time without washing your hands and doing dishes, etc. But if you do have to wash your hands, it's fine to just avoid submerging them for long periods of time, or like if you're soaking in the tub, maybe keep your hands out of the tub. I personally also avoid doing lotions, potions, cuticle oils, etc., for like 12 to 24 hours, just depending on, you know, if I do these before bed, then the next evening I will do lotions and oils and whatever, and that tends to be okay. They don't interfere with anything if you did the application properly. Polish Pops sent me their glossy no wipe top gel, but because it's brand new and unopened, I would like to keep it for when I run out of what I'm currently using. I am not a huge content creator. I don't have like a huge stock of all these supplies. Most of the items that I show you in the videos I buy myself in the spirit of frugality. I'm going to just keep this brand new, and I'm going to use the one that I already have open. This one was gifted by Lid Gels. It's their top coat. It's HEMA-free, just like the Polish Pops is also HEMA-free. And these are both no-wipe coats, meaning when you apply them and cure them, they cure fully hardened and they don't have that tacky layer that you have to wipe off. Now, one question I get a lot is, hey, you don't use the base coat under the top coat anymore. In my older videos, which are from years ago, because I've done nail videos for a long time, I show you an older type of gel, and I think it's the Gelish brand. I can't remember now, but I think that's what it was. It's one of the bigger popular brands. And at that time, the formulas were wipe-off formulas, so you had to cure them and then wipe off the tacky layer. But also those formulas mostly were meant to go on top of a base or another gel color. They were not necessarily meant to go the top coat just to put it on top of the stickers. So I always did a base coat first, cured it, did a top coat, cured it, and then wiped everything off, and it was good to go. With these newer formulas, especially the ones made by the brands that sell the stickers to be used over the stickers, they don't need a base coat underneath. These are nice and thick. They can help hide any ridging you might have. Of course, the choice of design is also very important. If you have prominent ridges, and I have some pretty prominent ones, it sometimes is better to pick a design that has some busyness to it, some patterns, because that can hide the underlying texture. A lot of nail videos will show you that they buff the nails first, they smooth out all those ridges. I don't want to do that. Those ridges are actually weak points in the nail. And by buffing them, you're just making everything thinner. And I don't want my nails to start splitting vertically as they grow out. So I just live with the ridges. There's some good products that can kind of help normalize the texture. Carousel makes one. I'll put a link in the description. And you can do those. I do that sometimes in between manicures, which is another reason that I only post every other week, because sometimes I like to take a break between my sets. Nails don't need to breathe, but they do need to rehydrate. And most dermatologists will recommend that you take breaks from having your nails covered with either polish or gel or stickers or anything. Just give them a chance to rehydrate, use some lotions, oils, maybe treatments like the carousel, whatever. So you notice that I'm capping the free edges with my top coat first, and then I'm applying it to the rest of the nail surface. The reason I cap the free edges first is because it creates a little bulge at the top, and then applying the polish to the rest of the nail smooths that top out. The reason I cap the free edges is because that's one of our risk areas for lifting, and I basically just seal it there so that nothing can get under there and the nails don't lift. I always do the thumbs last because the thumb sits kind of at an angle since I'm doing my own nails. And if I do that first, there's a little bit of the gel kind of pooling to the side typically, and so I have a little bit of an uneven little bump on the side. It's not a huge deal, but I don't enjoy it, so I do the thumbs last. Now, if you want to have your nails longer and maybe they're naturally thin and bendy and you want them to be long and strong mechanically, this will not make your nails physically stronger or anything, but if you watch my builder gel tutorial, you could add, after the sticker before the top coat, you could add a builder gel layer and cure that, and that will make your nails thicker and just mechanically stronger, not stronger from the health perspective, okay? And that can help you keep your length longer without the nails breaking. All right, here's the finished product. It is so shiny glossy. I don't see my ridges, even before the top coat, honestly. This brand does a good job at hiding ridges. This is not a sponsored video, and I will keep you updated on how it wears. Sometimes I will put an update in the pinned comment, or I always try to do that. Sometimes I can add a little commentary toward the end of the video as an overlay. It just really depends on how much time I have between filming and editing, but you can definitely go follow me on Instagram at KBeautyHobbit, and I post more real-life updates there in my stories, and I have a nails highlight where I save those things, but also feel free to leave me a comment. I try to get back to everybody. Before somebody asks about what lamp I use, the lamp I use is not made anymore, but I did see a lot of nail techs and at-home users recommend this one specific one that I'll put a link in the description box. I also have a nails section in my Amazon storefront. I don't sell anything, but it's like my affiliate storefront, so I do make a little commission if you go shop from there, and I always appreciate when people do that because it basically gives me some money to keep paying for equipment and buying more stuff to try, because like I said, most of the nails that I show on this channel I buy with my own money. Overall, very good experience. No separation issue, easy to apply. They look good in my opinion. Happy with the color. I know that's pretty subjective, so it's all down to how it wears. Now I do have an affiliate discount code with them that I will share in the description box as well, so if you're shopping with Polish Pops and you went there because of this video, I would really appreciate it if you use it. It shows them where the traffic is coming from, and again, gives me a little bit of money too, which I always appreciate. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope this video was helpful. I hope you learned something useful in your manicure efforts, and even if you're not using this brand, I hope that the universal tips are still applicable to you. If you have any ideas on what I should try next or suggestions, please drop me a comment. I always appreciate learning about new brands. A lot of the times I discover brands because of you guys, or maybe I already knew the brand name and I just didn't realize that people were interested in it. So if enough people express interest, like a lot of people asked about Polish Pops and follow up to Polish Pops, which is why I'm filming this one now versus doing a video about one of the other brands that I have in my drawer here waiting to be filmed. Again, you can find me on Instagram at KBeautyHobbit, my blog KBeautyHobbit.com, and in my Facebook group Korean Beauty Fanatics. We are getting very, very close to hitting 100,000 members, and if you like to talk about beauty, skincare, Asian brands specifically, feel free to join. We'd love to have you. Thank you so much. Hope to see you in my next video, and until then, please have a great week. Thank you so much.